Hey guys, I'm Brady McDonald from Brightwork Developments. I am here to tell you a story about how I met Joe Evangelisti, got involved with the storage syndicate, and started doing self-storage, massive self-storage developments as a Canadian in a foreign country. All right, it all started in December 2021. I was a Canadian real estate investor since 2015 and doing multifamily. And I decided with my family, my wife, and my two kids that I was going to pack the car up, drive my butt down into Florida and start and expand our operations into the United States. But I had a problem. I didn't know what strategy I was going to deploy, and I didn't know one soul in the United States. I started from scratch. But I did know where I was going to go first. I was going to a mastermind where they spoke on a wide range of topics by expert speakers. Flipping, wholesaling, mobile home parks, self-storage, land development, all these different types of strategies. And I was going there on purpose because I wanted to be exposed to everything that was possible in the United States. But I knew somebody was going to speak about storage. So long story short, the mastermind was over. I immediately sidebarred with Joe. He was speaking closer to the end on the second day. We set up a call for the next day. And, I just discussed, what I was doing, what my goals are, and would he coach me? And that was probably the best relationship. This was like relationship number one, pretty much, coming into the United States as a foreigner. And Joe and I started working together on a one-on-one coaching relationship. And, the conversations for the first probably 2 months were not about storage. They're about, because I had my family down here. I was living from literally hotel rooms to Airbnbs to I buy houses and we'd renovate them and we were living in the renovated houses. And keep in mind, we're fairly wealthy. I shouldn't be living like a hobo, but I always like to say perfection is a lie. This is just what it takes to get in the trenches and just do it. Just start. The art is in the start, as Joe would always say. And so we just talked, we worked on, getting stable in the family, really setting the base to success. And then we got into storage. And the biggest thing for me, because I understand real estate, I understand how to build teams. I needed big picture stuff. Who are the players? Okay. How does financing work? How does structuring the deal work? Okay. How does development work? How does raising capital work? How does all these big pieces fit in the pie? And once I got that, I had clarity. And one of the questions that I asked Joe was, I said, okay, I think I'm ready to go. Joe, would you say that, knowing me, do you think I should find a site myself, do all the due diligence that your shovel ready company does, and start right from scratch, or should I take a shovel ready site from you? Joe says, Brady, you know what? Knowing you, I would just find the site and do all the work. You can get it done. I know you can. The next day, and I said, okay, that's great. The next day, I remember I'm driving up with my family. I got my oldest daughter, she's 8 years old. We're driving up to Jacksonville to take her to a concert, her favorite country concert. And I was working on my phone and my wife was driving, and I see a Facebook post from Thad. And it was like, Houston, self-storage development, take this deal down. There's $10 million in equity, blah, blah. I'm like, and it just dawned on me. I said to my wife, I said, Christy, why would I waste 6 months to a year trying to take down my own deal where I could just literally in 2 months close on this thing? And it would save 6 months, 10 months, or who knows how much time I'm going to save by just taking action. I got on a call the next day with Thad, and we had it under contract, I think, within the week. And ultimately, then the conversations changed from, how do I put this team together? Joe, are you interested in being on my GP? How does a Canadian do this? Because the structure as a Canadian is different than an American. How do we start diving into this? And we put Joe and Brian on my GP, and they helped walk me through the entire steps on how to syndicate that first deal, raise the capital, and put it together. We ultimately closed. We were on the top of a mountain at a mastermind in Vail when we closed. Totally disconnected from the world, and we closed on that site, which is going to turn out to be a $28 million self-storage facility in Houston, Texas. Now, I started putting a team together. I realized Brady's not going to do this alone. So how do I put a team together? So I put a CFO together. I've got a chief development officer and an acquisitions guy. And so we quickly built a team, and we started looking at sites and okay, we need to find our own site now. and it was just taking too long. It was just too painful. So I took down another shovel ready site that Legacy had. And we syndicated that deal. I put them both on the GP again because, you know, when you're putting these teams together, these GPs together, you need to syndicate the money, right? But you also need to syndicate the experience and your team, right? Syndicating that experience is key to build credibility, but make sure that you really mitigate your risk for you and your investor to give you the best chance of success. Okay, so that's a huge component to putting, you know, your first or second deal together. And so we've now done two deals. We are working on due diligence on deal 3 and 4 at the moment, which will probably close in the next few months. And so now we're to the point, after doing 2 deals with Legacy, we're to the point now that we're starting to find our own. We've got a pipeline of leads, and we've kind of figured out the rest of the process. But, you know, long story short, you know, the way it was in Canada, I did everything. I was the solution, right? And I was always doing the how. But when you come into doing these bigger deals, it's really about who. Who can I help? Who can help me? Who can I bring on the team? Who can add value to me? Who can I add value to them? How can I add value to them? And in that type of partnership and that type of mindset, this is where you really take not only business, but also your life to the next level. So, you know, if you know anything about Joe, the Storage Syndicate, highly recommend it. They've taken me from a Canadian, you know, doing duplexes, triplexes, 10-unit buildings to doing $25 to $30 million self-storage deals in the United States, and we did that literally in 2 months. You know, we're on target to do 6 to 10 self-storage deals. That's, I don't know, you do the math, 300 million probably in storage in this calendar year, and we're just getting started.